The historic feat of Bertha Benz. Hi, I'm very glad that you're here to join me in this new and interesting video. I hope you find the content entertaining and enjoy watching it. Let's begin. Imagine a sunny day in August 1888 in Germany. Picture the quiet streets of the city of Mannheim as they normally were, with few pedestrians and horse-drawn carriages setting the pace of daily life. In this tranquil scene, Bertha Benz, a woman of determination and vision, prepares to accomplish one of the feats that would change the history of transportation in the world. Cassily Bertha Benz, born on May 3, 1849, as Cassily Bertha Ringer, was a woman quite different from what was expected for her time. She had studied everything that was allowed for a woman at that time and surprisingly, had also learned mechanics alongside her father in the family workshop. One of her first acts of faith in her husband was that, with the money from her family inheritance or dowry, and against the advice of her family, she financed her husband Karl Benz's project, the German engineer considered the inventor of the automobile. With this contribution, she became a partner in the company, although it was not officially mentioned, because at that time women did not have the right to run a business. Karl Benz's hard work bore fruit in 1885 when he completed his first vehicle, a motor-driven carriage. In November 1886, he obtained the patent for his three-wheeled car with a rear-wheel drive engine, known as the Benz patent motorwagon, which is considered the first mass-produced car with an internal combustion engine. However, despite the initial enthusiasm, the invention did not fully capture people's interest. No one was interested in buying that unfamiliar device, seemingly useless for the simple lives of people at that time. Inevitably, Karl began to feel demoralized by this lack of interest. He even considered abandoning the commercialization of his invention. Although today you could surely think of many effective ideas to promote the invention, at that time there were many limitations that made it difficult to promote such innovations. But it was at this moment that Bertha, with unwavering faith in her husband and the successful future of his creation, decided to take matters into her own hands and do something that would change the course of that invention. At dawn on a historic day in 1888, Bertha gathered her two children, Eugen and Richard, aged 15 and 13, respectively. Without telling or consulting Karl, she prepared to undertake a journey that would demonstrate the true utility of the automobile her husband had created. To reassure him, she left only a note mentioning that they would be visiting her mother. Their destination was Pforzheim, the city where her mother lived, and where they needed to visit and stay for a few days. Her parents' home was about 106 kilometers away. At that time, such a journey in a motorized vehicle was unthinkable, and Bertha knew that every kilometer traveled would be an excellent test to showcase the value of her husband's invention. However, upon closer inspection, this test could also have ruined the project forever. The motorwagon, with its simple and basic design, was a lightweight three-wheeled vehicle powered by a single-cylinder engine of 2.5 horsepower. If you're not familiar with mechanics, don't worry, it was a simple and low-powered engine, but it performed well for that time when motorized vehicles didn't exist. As we can all imagine, in 1888 there were no paved roads, and certainly no service stations to provide fuel suitable for such a vehicle. Bertha and her children, however, bravely set out on dirt roads and, at best, cobbled streets, facing countless challenges along their journey. The trip was not without problems. On the contrary, shortly after setting off, the motorwagon came to a halt. Bertha, resourceful and proactive in solving issues, used her hairpin, a metal accessory, to clean a clogged fuel pipe and her garter to fix the vehicle's ignition. In Weissloch, a small town in the Kingdom of Württemberg in southern Germany, they stopped to get food and water. But, most importantly, they visited a local pharmacy owned by Mr. Willy Ockel, where Bertha purchased cans of Ligroen, a petroleum-based solvent used as fuel at the time. This pharmacy is historically considered the world's first service station, and in its honor, a statue was placed to commemorate the feat of Bertha Benz and her children. But let's continue with the story. The motorwagon kept moving, crossing roads, hills, and valleys. The distance and the rough terrain tested the vehicle's durability, but Bertha's determination was even greater. During the journey, it was necessary to make several stops, both to refill the ligroin they carried in cans and to perform adjustments and repairs. She even had to seek the help of a blacksmith to repair a broken drive chain. Additionally, Bertha herself made several repairs with the knowledge she had and the limited tools available. It's mentioned that she unclogged a valve with a pin from her hat, covered a damaged electrical wire with a garter, and fixed the ignition system with a hairpin. Another significant and historic event occurred when, at one point during the journey, the brakes started to fail while descending a steep hill. Bertha improvised brake linings using leather for the brake shoes. This makeshift solution led to the invention of the first brake pads or brake linings in history. As it is often said, the greatest inventions were created by accident and out of the need to solve a problem. Each obstacle Bertha overcame was a victory for Carl Benz's vision and the project of his company. Without her invaluable intervention, the company might not have achieved the same success, becoming what is now considered one of the largest automotive companies in the world. All thanks to the remarkable contribution of a determined and resilient woman, who demonstrated the ability to overcome problems. Bertha and her children's journey also attracted the curiosity of onlookers who had never had the chance to see such a strange machine and were unfamiliar with how it worked. Many astonished gazes and constant questions from villagers and passers-by accompanied Bertha and her children throughout the trip. News of the journey began to spread throughout the region. People started to understand, imagine, and accept that the automobile was not just a strange novelty, but a significant technological advance with immense potential to solve many transportation problems of the time, as well as practical applications that would make life easier for many people. After an exhausting journey of approximately 12 hours, Bertha and her 2 children finally arrived in Pforzheim. Her mother, amazed, welcomed them with delight and disbelief at how they had arrived. Learning about the journey of her daughter and grandchildren, she could not help but feel proud of them. Such feats were rare, and even more so when accomplished by women. They had traveled over 100 kilometers in a pioneering, rudimentary first-generation automobile. The vehicle had not been subjected to the rigorous tests Bertha imposed, proving that it was indeed possible to travel long distances with a machine powered by a small internal combustion engine. This was now a reality. The return trip to Mannheim, made a few days later, served to reaffirm the success of the feat. With the experience from the first journey, Bertha was able to organize and plan the return much better. She scheduled stops at pharmacies to obtain fuel, places to gather necessary supplies, and, most importantly, locations where she could repair parts of the car in case of failures. Bertha's determination, ingenuity, and bravery not only demonstrated the value of Carl's invention to the world but also highlighted the importance of having faith in new projects and the people behind them, as well as in their efforts to achieve them. Her journey had a significant impact on public perception of the automobile and on the nascent automotive industry. Although most people were frightened to see that horseless carriage passing by, the popularity of the invention and the inventor grew immensely due to word-of-mouth publicity in communities. No one could have imagined the extent of this creation's impact, the transformation it would bring to humanity, or the numerous beneficial applications that would arise from one man's vision and the faith of his wife and family. After her return, improvements to the Benz patent motorwagon continued, many of which were due to the problems Bertha had faced and intelligently solved during her journey, including the birth of brake pads. The story of this significant journey by Bertha Benz and her children became a legend, a success story, and a tangible demonstration of the spirit of innovation and tenacity that would define the modern era of transportation and its derived applications. Thanks to the various incidents that arose during the trip, important improvements were made to the vehicle and new devices were conceived that, in the future, would become essential elements for today's automobiles. Bertha Benz thus became the first person to undertake a journey in an automobile powered by an internal combustion engine. Today, the route she traveled from Mannheim to Pforzheim can still be followed, known as the Bertha Benz Gettenkreuz, that is, Bertha Benz Memorial Route. This route commemorates the historic journey undertaken by the intrepid Bertha in 1888. During the outbound journey, it is possible to stop at the Weislog Pharmacy, a historic place where a monument outside commemorates Bertha's feat. The return route is significantly shorter, following the course of the Rhine and crossing the Black Forest. However, perhaps the most notable aspect for automotive enthusiasts is its passage through the Hockenheimring circuit, which currently hosts the German Grand Prix of Formula 1 and GP2. The success of Bertha Benz's journey not only helped advance her husband's career but also inspired other inventors, such as Gottlieb Daimler, a pioneer in the automotive industry, along with Wilhelm Maybach, whom she motivated to continue exploring and refining the prototype. In just a few years, the invention evolved rapidly and gained so much popularity that competitions were soon organized throughout Europe and eventually around the world. All of this was made possible thanks to the courage and vision of one woman. Bertha Benz, with her courage and vision, not only supported her husband Karl but also ensured that the automobile, one of humanity's most transformative inventions, received the recognition and development it deserved. Thanks to her, the world could envision a future where mobility would be accessible to everyone and would forever change the way we live and move. Thank you for your attention and for watching until the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to share it with your friends and family. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you have any suggestions or ideas you'd like to see published, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments box. As always, I wish you the greatest success in your projects and, above all, that you enjoy what you do. See you soon. End.